Everything was fire. Commander Rylus Drake's last memory before blacking out was the burning chaos of his spacecraft, the Lancer 7, slamming through the upper stratosphere of the unknown planet. His HUD screamed warnings in 12 languages. His co-pilot was dead, and the ship had become a coffin of fire and torn metal. Then nothing. Darkness. Silence. When he woke, the first thing he felt was the absence of pain. That, in itself, was unnatural. His left leg shattered on impact. His ribs bruised or broken. His arm dislocated, maybe worse. But he felt nothing. Instead, a calm warmth, like the low hum of a solar radiator, soaked through him. He opened his eyes. A ceiling of living crystal arced over him like the inside of a massive shell, pulsating gently with lavender and azure light. Rylus tried to sit up and groaned, not in pain but effort. He was lying on a bed of woven reeds and fiber, surrounded by translucent curtains that shimmered like water. Something moved beyond the curtain. He tensed, instinct kicking in. Reaching for the pistol that wasn't there, Rylus realized he was wearing only a thin white robe. His injuries were gone. No bandages, no scars. Just skin. Clean whole. Then she appeared. At first glance, she was human. Tall, elegant, draped in flowing silks of shifting color. But her eyes. They were too large, like molten silver, reflecting the universe back at him. Her skin glowed faintly, the hue of moonlight on snow. Her hair moved on its own, like strands of shadow and light dancing on solar winds. "You are awake," she said in a voice not quite sound, more like a memory of a voice in a dream. "Where am I?" Rylus croaked. What are you?" She stepped forward, tilting her head like a curious child. "I am Vela. You are safe, Commander Rylus Drake." He blinked. "You know my name. I found your ship. What remained of it? You saved me." "Yes. Your injuries were extensive. But we repaired you." Rylus narrowed his eyes. "We? Us. There are others. You will meet them if you choose. But first you must heal." He looked down at his hands. "Why? Why save me?" Vela stepped closer, until her presence eclipsed the strange room. "Because you are not the first to come from the stars. But you are the first to survive the fall. And because..." She leaned closer, her eyes locking with his. "You may be the key to the world below." The planet was called Sihari, though its name was not spoken in any known language. Vela explained through thoughts and feelings, images and sensations, that it was once a great nexus world, part of an ancient alliance of life-bearing worlds connected by something more profound than trade or politics. The Saharans, her people, were not conquerors. They were keepers. Of memory, of life, of harmony. But when the collapse came, eons ago, they withdrew, choosing solitude over war. Vela guided Rylus through the crystalline forests where plants sang to the wind and rivers whispered forgotten songs. Creatures unlike anything he'd known walked freely. Luminous, graceful, some with wings of light, others with translucent skin revealing moving galaxies inside. Days passed. Or what he thought were days. Rylus began to recover not just physically, but mentally. Something about the planet reached into him, quieting the storm of war that had haunted him since Earth's rebellion against the Martian hegemony. His unit had been wiped out. The war had ended in chaos. His mission, to scout and signal Earth Command about a new threat in this quadrant, had failed. He was a ghost stranded. And yet not alone. He and Vela talked, if it could be called that. Her form of communication was more than words. Impressions, feelings, memories shared through touch or proximity. He showed her Earth's cities, its wars, its brilliance and its brutality. She showed him the archives of Sahari, Visions of towering spires built on gravity-defying plateaus, of symphonies that created rain, of beings who could sculpt emotion into physical form. But the planet was dying. Its core was unstable. Something long dormant was stirring beneath its crust. "The cradle is awakening," Vela told him one evening as they watched the twin moons dance. "We do not know why. We only know that you are the first to arrive in centuries. And your coming was foretold." Rylus laughed bitterly. "I've never been part of a prophecy. I'm just a pilot with a broken ship and too much blood on my hands." She turned to him, face unreadable. "Then close your eyes, human. And trust me." 3. The cradle. Beneath the surface of Sahari, hidden beyond veils of light and time, lay the cradle, an immense living machine built by the ancients. Not a weapon but a failsafe. Planetary consciousness. Designed to sleep unless awoken by a trigger. Rylus, it seemed, was that trigger. "You are not the key because of who you are," Vela explained as they descended into the planet's core, "but because of what you carry." He didn't understand. Until they reached the heart. Pulsed with thought, with memory. And when he stepped close, it responded. Not to him but to the fragment inside him. A shard of alien code embedded in his neural cortex during a reconnaissance mission months ago. Had been dormant. Silent. Till now. Suddenly he was inside the cradle, not physically but in a world of thought. A vast simulation of all of Sahari's past, present, and future possibilities. The cradle spoke. It showed him what was coming. A force was on its way. Something that devoured worlds, consciousness, entire civilizations. It had been tracking the signal emitted from his ship, a signal he hadn't known was broadcasting. The same signal that led him to Sahari. The cradle needed a decision. To awaken Sahari's defenses meant sacrificing the planet's harmony. The peaceful energy fields would collapse. The Saharans, sensitive to such shifts, would wither and fade. But to do nothing was to invite extinction. "I can't make that choice," Rylus said, overwhelmed. "This isn't my world." The cradle's response was simple. Then choose to become one with it. For trust. Outside the chamber, Vela waited. When he emerged, something in his eyes had changed. "You saw," she whispered. "I saw," he confirmed. "And you already knew what I would choose." She smiled, the smallest curve of her lips. "No, but I trusted." They returned to the surface. The skies had already begun to darken. The creatures were silent. The Saharans, once shimmering, now flickered like fading stars. Rylus took his place at the central node, fusing the fragment in his mind with the cradle's core. Pain rippled through him as the neural interface overwhelmed his senses. Then he was everywhere. He was the cradle. He felt the approaching armada. Cold, mechanical, vast. 1,000 ships. An intelligence that consumed thought itself. The null dominion. And he fought. Not with weapons but with will. The cradle unleashed a storm of harmonic energy, frequencies that bent light and time. The skies erupted in a cascade of color and power. Enemy ships twisted into dust. Others fled. A final surge from the cradle reached into the void and severed the Dominion's link. Silence fell. Sahari breathed again. The aftermath. Rylus collapsed, unconscious. When he woke days later he was changed. Vela sat beside him. "You survived the fusion. Few could." "I saw everything," he said. "All of your history. Pain. Your love. Your silence. And now,